Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 6:23 here. But anyway, surprise! I know it's been a while, and I'm just doing a quick pop-in. As I previously said, I'm gonna do a little thing about migraines and migraine prevention. And so I'm gonna do part one and part two just for the sake of attention span. So it's not too long, and I'll try to make it as short as possible. So I'm not sure if I've ever covered migraines. It is so common nowadays. It seems like now more and more people are suffering from migraines. And before I go any further, again, hi, my name is Rachel, and I am the owner of Shalem Lifestyle Health Coaching Services, and I really am about prevention, right? I'm about health management, disease prevention, and I'm specifically talking about lifestyle conditions, lifestyle illnesses, and things to help us really live an overall healthy life and not having so much to deal with chronic diseases and everything that comes after. In the world we live in now, there is so much exposures to things that really are counter-human. Sometimes I like to say things that are not beneficial to us. And so let me talk about migraines quickly today. And I used to deal with migraine very severely, and at average 5 days a week. At some point, I was at 5 days a week. It took me out, and I was to the point where my PCP really wanted me to get into the Botox shots, and at that point, I decided I did not want anything to do with that. Not because it's wrong, but again, I'm about prevention. I decided, okay, what can I do, um, to not be in such a miserable state all the time, and to have to add one thing to my treatment, right? By default, I'm a provider, and I believe when you need treatment, you need treatment, okay? But some of us just don't like taking things, and they will take it because they have to. But if I can avoid it and not get to the point where I need to be on some kind of ongoing treatment, I will do that. I really will. And so let's talk about migraine. So I got reminded of this because I had an attack for the first time in 5 years. Because I figured out how to prevent it. I've not dealt with migraines in 5 years until about 3 weeks ago. And mind you, I'm in a different state, different weather, different patterns. Like, it took me a while to kind of adjust, especially to this weather. I will not complain about humidity again. Let me put it that way. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay. So let's talk about some tips. I'm gonna cover six, or try to cover six today. The first thing I want to say, that what works for one may not necessarily work for another one, right? I'm very big on that. We all are different. We all are different. There is a general treatment, the general rule that's helpful, but you really want to identify what works for you. You want to identify the healthy pattern that works for you, okay? And so the main thing that I believe applies to everybody is identifying the triggers. You want to identify the triggers. You want to identify the triggers. That's how you can actually invest more in preventing an attack. And everybody's trigger is different. I have a colleague whose trigger is anxiety. And by anxiety, I mean every time she deals with a new situation that is getting her a little anxious, bam. Some people it's caffeine. Some people it's the lack of sleep. Some others it is nutrition. Actually, for many people, it is nutrition. It is what you are eating, because there are some things your body may just not be taking well. There are some things that will be a trigger. And I hope my connection is okay. So you want to identify triggers, and the way you can identify triggers is keeping a diary. And I'm sure all of you have heard that. I'm not a big diary writing or journal person, but in order for me to identify what was repeating every time I had an attack, I had to start writing down the things I ate, what I did, how I slept, whatever exposure I had. Like, I literally had to write down my life for so long, and then I saw what was coming up consistently every time I had an attack. So that's one thing. It's big to identify your triggers. The second thing is sleep. You know, when we sleep, our brain is resetting, is regenerating. We really are helping our neurons even regenerate, right? Or our cells, our neuron cells regenerate. Lack of sleep is overall not a good thing. Now, what lack of sleep is may be different for everybody, because some people really function on 6 hours of sleep a day. Like, that's the most they can take. That's the perfect for them. They are rested, you know, and I'm sure your sleep cycle comes into play. But some people, I've met people with 5 hours of sleep a day. That was there. Every time they tried to do more than that, but it was not going for them. And then there are those that need 7 or 8 hours. Everybody's different. But you want to know your sleep, how much sleep you need to get, and then your sleep patterns, right? And then you want to be regular, because once you identify the sleep pattern that works for you and you maintain it, you are essentially preventing your signals, your nerve signals, or your brain signals really to get out of wire, because your brain is rested and all of that good thing, right? The next thing is stay hydrated. I cannot stress that enough, right? I've talked about healthy nutrition, hydration, things like that in the past, so I'm not going to dive into that. But understand that hydration plays a lot of role in the body, including maintaining electrolyte balances, eliminating toxins, things like that. Hydration, stay hydrated. And by hydrating, I don't mean like pop. I mean water, more natural things, right? Hydration. Okay, adequate hydration is important. The next thing is stress. Oh my gosh, this one is one of the hardest for people to deal with. Managing stress. Managing stress. And so, often for most of us, the exposure to stress is hard to manage, whether it is in your career or your, I don't know, your daily life, whatever it is. And what you want to do then is invest in de-stressing, relaxing, right? You want to take time to do things that bring your stress level down. You want to take time to do things that bring your stress level down. For me, exercising is a big one to manage stress. So manage your stress in a healthy way. Manage your stress in a healthy way. All right. The next thing is caffeine and alcohol. Limiting caffeine and alcohol. And I've had a presentation and actually a blog about alcohol and things like that. Caffeine is an excitant. And what is very interesting is that caffeine actually helps some others with migraines. So this is why it's so important to know yourself and know your body. But excess of everything is never really good for you, right? So you want a healthy balance. Alcohol dehydrates you. So overall, for many people, limiting the intake of caffeine and alcohol really helps. I go back to identifying your triggers. This is where really you want to know what your triggers are. Healthy diet. Need I say more? I talk so much about diet. I talk so much about balancing what you eat. I talk so much about putting things in your body that help your body. healthy diet, the less healthy, the less necessary nutrients to help you, the less your body has to, fend off things it doesn't want to deal with, right? Help your body. Healthy diet, right? I mentioned about exercise earlier because I talked about me personally helps me with stress level and many other things. I'm not going to go into that. The 6th point I wish to make is exercise. And when I say exercise, I insist on the fact that exercise doesn't mean you have necessarily to go in the gym and, do all kind of things, but movement, challenging your heart rate, cardio, balance exercise, stretching, flexibility exercise, movement, walking, swimming, like I say, stretching, exercise, move, right? So that's the 6th tip for migraine prevention tip. It seems so, the word I'm thinking of is banal in French, really. It seems so insignificant. But as you identify things, you'll be surprised how much you can actually avoid. You'll be surprised. And so I believe one doesn't have to suffer unnecessarily. We don't have to suffer like putting ourselves through things that make us suffer when there is a possibility not to experience that suffering. So I hope these are little tips to encourage you, because I'm sure many of us know these things yet feel discouraged or tired or just defeated in really trying. Do not give up. Do not give up. Help yourself. Help yourself. Minimize the situations that put you in a bad position when it comes to your health, right? Live life happily. Be thankful for every day. Be thankful for life. Be thankful for breath, right? And help yourself. Be good to yourself, right? And so that's all I have to say for now. And I wish you a fantastic day. This will be available later on YouTube also. And God bless you. God bless you richly. Take care.